Hey, this is Zachlog the Great. I recently read an essay on Sigma Game about how men, in general, receive far less positive attention than women do, and how a smart, sensitive woman can take advantage of this to benefit herself and the men around her. Quote, "It's almost impossible for women to understand that, on average, men are treated with a level of total indifference from society that would render the average woman depressed, if not suicidal. As a consequence of this, the vast majority of men are starving for affirmation. From anyone, but from women in particular. And this still applies to married or long-term dating men. Yes, there is a tiny fraction of men who are showered with praise and attention. If you're a woman and didn't realize most men aren't like this, it's most likely because men who aren't a part of that tiny elite are practically invisible to you. But, to return to my point, most men, including married men, are desperate for affirmation. So, if you're a married, or practically married, woman, you should make sure that you are a source of affirmation for him. That you tell him what he means to you. That you give him positive feedback. Praise his accomplishments. Now, some women might hear this and think, what accomplishments? Positive feedback on what? If that's the case, well, you picked him. Unless you're in an arranged marriage, he was your choice. So, if he's that much of a disaster, well, that was really your mistake, wasn't it? But let's say that's not the case, and let's say he is a worthwhile man whom you want to hold on to. Why is it important for you, his wife, to be a source of affirmation for him? If you're not, I see one of two things happening, neither of which you probably want. I don't really know which is worse. First, maybe he doesn't really find this affirmation anywhere. In that case, he slowly dries up and shrivels, like a houseplant that's never watered enough. He never becomes the man he could be. Never really achieves what he should. He fades into shadow. And he's yours. You dominated him. You won. Here's your trophy. An empty shell of what could have been an admirable man. He needs you, your encouragement, your faith in him, and, deliberately or not, by depriving him of that, you're slowly destroying him. There is another possibility, though, because what he needs from you is really not that hard to give. Another possible outcome is that he will find it elsewhere, that another woman recognizes something valuable in him and lets him know. And maybe she becomes a steady source of encouragement, of affirmation for him. And then, with hardly any effort at all, she steals him right out from under you. All she had to do, after all, was appreciate what you failed to, was tell him that she values him. I'm certainly not saying it's right, either on her part or his. But who created the conditions that made that possible? The woman who didn't provide him with what he needed. If you're starving a man, don't be shocked if he winds up stealing bread. So, one more time, women. If you have a man, and you value him, if he's worth something to you, make sure he knows it. He needs to hear that from somebody. And if he doesn't hear it from you, well, do you really want to find out? God be with you.